I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. Grew up in Brownsville. And Brownsville was at that time considered the #1 slum in the country. Not that we were trying to compete, that's just who we were. So I have a concern and love for this city. I don't care where I go around the world. New York is a concern, and it is the biggest city in the world. And I invited the candidates that are running, because they're running for mayor of New York, but they're also running for the mayor of the biggest city. In this city is the United Nations. In this city are the rich and the poor. In this city are those in business and those that are not. So we have concern about it. We're not, National Action Network don't endorse any candidates, but I might slip and tell y'all before Election Day what I think is best. But that's another time, another place. The chairman will take the hook and hook me. This ain't the Apollo, this Lincoln's son. I want to bring to you first a candidate. He came on Christmas Day last year and served all day. Our vice chairman, Jennifer Jones Austin, told me her kids said, you know, there was a guy that was here all day. Nobody knew who he was. I said, all right. So he's in the assembly. I said, okay. And he just kept serving. Some politicians came, got their photo, left, in and out. But he stayed all day, Reverend Jefferson, and served. And he came back, met with me, said he was running for mayor, was very energetic, charismatic. I asked him questions. Came again. Then I invited all the candidates Saturday by Saturday leading up to the primary. And he was last, Saturday before the primary. And he said, let me tell you something. I've been here at the House of Justice before. And the audience, some of y'all are here, looked up at him. He said, I was here all day Christmas. And we looked at the tape. It was him that was serving all day. And he said, I'm going to make 2 commitments. If I win or lose the primary, I'll be here next Saturday. And I'll be here Christmas Day. He said, because I'm a Muslim, I don't celebrate Christmas. I'm going to be here with y'all. The next Saturday, he was the winner of the Democratic nomination for mayor. And he came and spoke to us, and he's been available to us. And some of you have been excited about it. Others have whatever candidate y'all going to go with. There's, well, we invited everybody. Let me put it that way. Let me bring to you the Democratic nominee for mayor of New York, Zohran Mamdani.
Good evening, my friends. It is a pleasure to be here. You know, my name is Zohran Kwame Mamdani, and I'm proud to stand before you as the Democratic nominee to be the next mayor of New York City. And it's a pleasure to be here, especially as we come together to celebrate some truly great people who have been on the front lines of the fights for social and economic and racial justice. Mm-hmm. And I also have to thank Reverend Sharpton for bringing us all together, whether it be tonight or so many other nights that we have seen each other under the banner of the National Action Network. And before I go further, I have to wish Reverend Sharpton the happiest of belated birthdays. Because I think of the words of Reverend Al, who says, I always beat the sun up in the morning. It's the secret to why I'm double trouble. And nothing describes the Reverend better than hustle, energy, relentless work for justice. And I know he's telling the truth because I've seen the green juice selfies. He is up and he is ready and he is going at the day. And the Reverend's story is also the story of this city. A story of New Yorkers who work harder than anyone else. who never settle for less, and who are always striving for excellence. And that excellence is what ties tonight's honorees together. And it's what often feels so out of reach in our politics, whether in our city or frankly in our nation. Because when we look to Washington and we see anti-DEI rollbacks and attacks on our rights, that's not excellence. When we see those who are tasked with keeping us safe deploying the National Guard and stripping us of our health care at the same time, that's not excellence. And when New Yorkers can no longer trust that change can come from politicians, that too is not excellence. So as we chart a path forward in this city and in this country, let us center it around the commitment to excellence that defines this city to its core. And my vision of that excellence is a city that is affordable, a city that is safe, and a city that lives up to the values of this very organization. That's why I'm here to talk about it. The first way that one does the work is by following the words of those that came before him. And the words that I often think of when I think of this city, and when I think of this state, and when I think of this country, are the words of Dr. King. What good is having the right to sit at a lunch counter if you can't afford to buy a hamburger? And I share those words because they must be our compass in ensuring that our city hall and our city uses every tool at its disposal to bring an end to what we have seen, which is the reverse of the Great Migration. What we have seen is the loss of 200,000 black New Yorkers over the last few decades alone. The loss of a population of black children and teenagers by 19% from 2010 to 2019. And if that is a loss that we are comfortable with, then it means we are comfortable with the politics that preceded this moment. But if we want change, if we want this to be a city people can stay and people can join, then I think it is time for a change in our politics as well. And with that being said, I say congratulations to tonight's honorees, congratulations to Reverend Sharpton, and congratulations also to the New Yorkers who will hold each and every one of us accountable, not just in November, but also in January when the hard work begins of delivering this agenda. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Welcome to the Gilchrist Experience. As you see, that's possibly the underdog, as you would say, and youthful, exuberant, energized, spiritual human being. And I was just inspired. I mean, Ron, he's only a couple of years younger than you. Now you see your peer there running for mayor, and Sharpton giving everybody a chance to speak their mind. And he comes up with this energy that we can all feel. And I mean, I was inspired. I mean, we had been going through all these problems with the tickets, and I mean, you working through all that stuff, you don't get a chance to really watch and feel it as genuine. I mean, I'm sure you felt some of it, but you're busy running around, paying attention to everybody, but feeling the energy. And I was fortunate enough to sit there and listen to all this. And I was frustrated by, you know, the problems that we were having. But I was so energized, and I sort of forgot all the problems that we were having, and I just enjoyed every moment of that whole experience there. I thought God had appeared. I mean, there was hope. We left with energized and the singing. I mean, boy, when 2 or 3 of us are gathered, you know, black people know how to bring God into the situation. I mean, especially in these circumstances. A new mayor having to deal with the demon in the White House. And we've got, Graham and I go back 25, almost 30 years, witnessing all the changes that Reverend Sharpton has gone through, all the struggles, all the struggle of civil rights. And this man came in tune, and possibly being the next mayor, was what, end result of it, is, well, I want to hear you guys' opinion of what experience was like for you. Graham or Ron, whoever wants to speak first.
It was a very uplifting night. Um, even seeing the awardees. Everybody knows Babyface. Everybody knows Stephanie Mills.
Mm-hmm.
But the other awardees are not readily known. There was a woman who is with a radio net, a national network of African American broadcasters, and we've been losing Black-owned radio stations
Right,
by the dozens every year.
Right.
You know, and WLIB has even changed, I believe, in the last few years. BLS, I don't know if that's still a Black-owned network.
Yeah.
We don't have a Black-owned television station that I know. BET is not Black-owned. So communication is very important.
Yeah.
And the information that's being disseminated to the people right now, you're hearing about this buyout of the major networks that are backing Donald Trump. So what information people get is critical, because the question is, who's sending the information?
Right.
I tell students when I lecture, you need to question everything and everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be impressed by letters and dots behind a person's name.
Mm-hmm.
You need to know the intent of the individual.
Mm-hmm.
What is their intent? Because even higher education is not just about educating you, it's about perpetuating the status quo.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not going to take your education to enhance your people, I have a problem with it. I don't care what profession you choose, you need to be about helping your people in your position.
Mm-hmm.
Babyface, there was a pastor there with the choir that sang. So it's good that our people are acknowledged for things more than simple entertainment. But the woman who was there for the broadcasting group, I was very much impressed by what she is doing to bring information to the general public and to Black people.
Mm-hmm.
Because the major networks are not bringing real information to our people.
How about Amy Goodman? Democracy Now!
No, I'm talking. Well, Amy Good, that's my girl. Amy and I go way back, way back. Her show definitely, and the Guardian newspaper, the BBC brings about, and also Al Jazeera.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to bring you the flip side. They're going to discuss the suffering of our people, which is not discussed. We have over 20 million people starving to death in Africa right now. MSNBC, CNN, ABC, NBC, they are not discussing the suffering of Black people. The New York Times is not going to present it. And these are the things we need to back outlets that are going to bring information to inform us of what is happening to our people.
Yeah.
We hear so much about the Ukraine. We hear so much about Gaza. And even at that, the genocide that's going on in Gaza is sickening, truly sickening. Netanyahu and his racist agenda. Trump even said they're going to turn it into the Riviera of the Middle East. The fact is, they're looking to steal the natural resources, the oil and the natural gas that are in Gaza. That's why Netanyahu is still bombing out every building, so there's nothing for the people to return to. And once they displace them, just as they did the same thing here with the people that rightfully own this land, they will displace, if they can, the Gaza population and seize the natural resources, the oil and the natural gas. And the U.S. is definitely involved.
Save that for the second half. Triumph Award, Ron?
I first want to say that I might be a little bit older than Mount Downing, but I look a little bit younger. Turn to the side, turn
That's
to the right. You keep bringing up age. Uh, but we know that as we watch this mayoral race, it's as it unfolds in front of us. You know, it is nice to see a young man, a young star pop up, especially with all of the things that we're seeing going on right here in New York. As everybody was bringing up their debates, he talked about affordability, and we all know that New York is not affordable. I want to see what he does. Most people get into office, they talk about affordability,
yeah,
taxes go up. So, I hope that's not the case. But again, very promising. I enjoy him every time he comes to Nan. He marched with us for, I don't know if you guys remember the March on Wall Street, which is
yeah,
about economic
yeah.
justice.
We showed it.
He currently is an assembly member. He represents New York's 36th district in Queens, and he proudly talks about his background being a Ugandan, that he immigrated to the U.S. as a child with his parents, his mother being a filmmaker, his father being an academic, and he always is talking about his middle name Kwame, which is he got it from a Ugandan politician. But I think that
Ghanaian, Ghana,
uh,
Ghana,
oh,
Kwame
Ghanaian,
Nkrumah.
thank you for that correction. So I think that the other piece of it is you're only seeing one mayor candidate, but all the mayor candidates are always invited, and
Yeah,
he's consistently the one that continues to show up. Even though Eric Adams has dropped out even before, he's the only one that continues to support, even though his numbers amongst the black community is not high. So, it speaks to how he feels about the black community. I got to serve with him on the line for Thanksgiving and remember him and his commitment as he was here. I I want to believe that the Democrats are energized through this new candidate, but we often see turmoil within the Democratic Party as
yeah,
he
yeah,
identifies as a democratic socialist.
yeah,
People within the party, you know, branding him as a communist.
yeah,
And I'm not just talking about Donald Trump, I'm talking about people in the party.
yeah.
Instead of celebrating his wins, because
And
he's won some stuff, he is a Democratic nominee.
I've heard that a lot at
They're,
Nan.
yeah, they are tearing themselves apart as a party. And Graham and I just get very concerned about the health of the Democratic Party.
Mm,
Uh, and Mr. Gilchrist, I know we're always talking blue, but what is going on of where you can't even celebrate somebody that has a win for your party? And he's talking about affordability. He's talking about inclusion. He's talking about diversity. So he's saying all the right things.
no,
And so, of course, we haven't seen what he's going to do. That's a whole different thing. But to try to pick apart what he stands for, and to try to get the party leader Jay Jacobs to do something about it within the party is very uh, telling of how the Democratic Party is not unison. And I do not, again, endorse the Republican Party, but at least they show a unified front, even if it's not unified. And optics is very important. Now we can talk about the MAGA regime and all of the things that they're doing to this country, which they basically have put this country into a place of, I'm going to say, a autocracy. I'm going to say that we said as a country when it was formed that we would have no more kings, but yet the Supreme Court has created a king out of this president. We see a Republican Party that is incinerated with anger, and I just am so confused because you have the House, you have the Senate, you have the Supreme Court, you have the executive branch. So what is it that's the problem? And in the speech, it is very clear that they're talking about the enemy within. I don't know if you guys saw the
oh
speech
yeah,
that
Yeah.
Trump gave to uh, the the military. And when they're talking about the enemy within, we've heard this speech before. They're talking about targeting us. And the question that we must ask ourselves is, what is it that we have that even when they have all the money, they have all the resources, they have all the power that one could want as for a political party, why is it that they continue to target us, right? Why is it that they continue to target Graham, our history, but don't target other people's history? Why
Well,
is it that we are so silent when they took back affirmative action? Why is it so silent when they started taking back DEI programs? I've even heard discussions, believe it or not, from educated black folk on social media against DEI. And it is confusing to me that when they rob something from you, and then you're saying, oh, we didn't need that in the first place. Don't
because
we
they
have
don't.
more sense than that? Why are they robbing things from you if they feel that that thing that they robbed from you didn't empower you?
Well,
If
may
somebody
I
takes
answer
your,
that?
go ahead.
May I answer that? It comes from elders like me and Graham, who went through the struggle when it first was in existence. You had to go through the 60s to really appreciate where we are now, what we had, how much of a fight it was to get what we got, and to see people who have benefited from all this pleasure. I mean, they don't appreciate it. When you've got it all, I mean, I got into affirmative action job in 1970, right after Nixon brought it in. And I lived like an executive for 10 years. And I was on top. I mean, company car, American Express card, gold. I mean, and taking clients out to lunch, 530 Fifth Avenue, and that was a affirmative action job in 1970.
But were you qualified for the job, Winston?
I was the best. I was the best one there.
Okay,
I was the best.
What,
Reason why they put me in there is it was in a textile business, and Jews in New York ran the textile business. They still
Right.
do, I think. But they were Southern based. I mean, a Dutch company originally, but they wanted to put a black in there to deal with your Jewish people. And I brought in Jewish clients. It was one year I sold 3 million of a pound of. I saved a plant, and I've got a picture of me celebrating this victory. And I think you saw that one. It was 1975. I had sold 750,000 pounds of some yarn that wasn't first class, and they need to hide it somewhere. And I sold it to a Jewish contractor, subcontractors to Sears, and sold them 750,000 pounds. It took some time to get all this out there, but I saved the plant. And these guys were they made me salesman of the year.
See, but this is about, you were qualified.
I went out there and found people. I wasn't afraid of Jewish people.
Right. You were
These
qualified
crackers
to
didn't want to
do the
deal with it.
job.
They thought, crackers back in those days thought Jews had horns. I witnessed all this stuff.
They said we had tails during the Second World War.
I
but
witnessed that in the
qualified.
Philippines in the 60s. I was in the Philippines. And this girl wanted to see if I had a tail. I went to that's another story. But the whole point is that I'm mentioning this to Ron because of the fact that we went through all these struggles, and it was just what we had to do to survive. We were survival of the fittest. A lot of us didn't make it. But I thank God that I stayed. I was hard-nosed. I mean, I was a New Yorker, you know, and that's why I'm so proud of this city. We breed good and bad. Trump is a New Yorker. He's the worst of New York. And we've got to understand that in this city, what we produce as people. Because The center of the universe is right here in New York. Everything is here. We've got every human represented on the planet is in New York. You get on a subway and it's a UN.
Hmm?
And this is what we've been raised around. There's one race, the human race. And that's what we've got to promote all the time. And Sharpton
Graham,
is one of the best examples of a man from Brooklyn, raised in New York, and been through all. I've watched him for the last, and everything he says, he's talking for me. And that he did at the Triumph. You know all the struggles we're going through, fighting with people. Graham said nobody's going to show up for Sharpton about the tickets. I mean,
I just want to jump right in, and I always love when I'm able to spark the preacher out of you. When you get so fired up.
That's life, man.
Amen.
That's
and
life.
And I think we enjoyed it. You know, Graham came in VIP. I didn't know Graham was so high up there. He got the VIP section, and Graham is well known by everyone. And so are you, Mr. Gilchrist. I just thought that.
Why didn't I get the VIP section?
You are, because you are Mr. VIP. What are you talking
but
about?
I didn't get the VIP ticket.
No.
They had me up in the.
Mr. Graham knew.
They had me
I went there. He was up there.
They had me in the top balcony. I worked my way down.
You were with the angels on high. You were with the angels on high.
I said to Beth, all the changes they put us through, I said, look, we're here, and we're alive, and we're well. I said, we're looking down at the peasants.
But Ron, you know, we have to understand something, that this country is recycling its history. When you read American history of the 1920s, the racist attitudes of the United States Congress, isolationism, America first. We've been here before.
Yeah.
And ain't nothing changed but the date on the calendar. Racism has not left us. It's never going to leave us. It will always present its head when it can. We talked about Project 2025 over 2 years ago, and people are experiencing it now. We need to understand that racism is alive and well. It did not go anywhere because we had a black president. Yeah. It's always present.
It made it worse.
It will show itself. They try and bastardize Mandani by calling him a communist.
Well,
there's something people need to read. They need to read the scriptures.
Mention that he's a Muslim.
The Book of Acts, the first century church, there is a statement in that book. They talk about communism, which the Communist Manifesto says, from each according to his ability and to each according to his need. Well, the first century church in the Book of Acts were the first to do that. It says that those that had brought of what they had, so that those who had little could have some. That's not communism. That's scripture. Capitalism promotes greed and avarice. It promotes I, me, me. There is no we and us in capitalism. So we need to be smart enough to read through the BS that's coming out with these divisive words and look at the heart of the individual. I don't know Mandani. I don't know, what's his name? Cuomo.
Cuomo.
Sliwa. I've seen all of them, but I don't know them.
No, yes, you do.
The only thing that counts is what you do and not what you say.
Oh.
All right? And as far as the Democratic Party is concerned, they have been in disarray for a long time. They have failed to raise up leadership. And in the last few years, young people have come into the Democratic Party from Florida, from New York, from other areas of the country, You have seen young blacks and Latinos emerge from the school shootings in Florida, from I forgot what state it is where they were trying to prevent the blacks from speaking in the legislature.
Tennessee.
They're coming up.
Mm-hmm.
They are not waiting for the old heads to do something. They're stepping up. They're getting elected, and they intend to lead this party out of the doldrums. You have a woman who was elected and has not been sworn in yet. She was elected 2 weeks ago.
But Graham,
And hasn't been sworn in. So it's not about sitting and going along and getting along when you are in the fight of your life wearing boxing gloves and the opponent is hitting you with a lead pipe. The Democratic Party has to wake up.
Well,
they need to realize where they are, what day it is, and get to stepping. And right now, the government is shut down because the other party wants it this way. But as the people begin to suffer, they're going to wake up. They're going to see what the Republican Party is about. They'll get a better understanding of money and what money buys in this country, as opposed to what people need.
What the Democratic Party is practicing is democracy. The Republican Party.
This is not a democracy. This is not a democracy.
Well, we always argue that point, Graham.
We don't have to argue it. It's what is written. This is a republic, Winston.
And we always go through that, Graham. We've been going through that for 20 years.
You need to go through it again and get it in your head.
You need to pay attention to what you did in 16.
This is a republic. If this were a democracy, you would not have an electoral college. If this were a democracy, you would elect the president and not some delegates elect the president.
Because everybody's confused because you confuse them.
I'm not confusing anybody. You keep reciting nonsense. Look up what a republic is and look up what a democracy is. Don't smile. Get smart.
I'll show.
Stop talking nonsense.
Oh, there you go.
And I'm serious about it.
Beverly will tell you about your nonsense. There you go.
This is a republic.
If I might,
I'm going to tell you about. Now, you didn't need to go there, Graham. We're going to talk about.
It's not a democracy.
We're talking about hating on Hillary.
To have you think you live in a democracy. You don't live in a democracy.
Well, you said that in 2016.
My hand is raised.
You argue like that in 2016.
My hand is raised. Let me jump in.
And you know what happened in 2016? Democrats arguing like that. We got Trump.
Go ahead, Ron.
That's how we got Trump. Democrats arguing like Graham and I just did.
I'm not a Democrat. So get that in
your
head, too.
That's what I mean. You're not a Democrat.
Thank you.
Because you're not practicing democracy.
I think we can all agree on
It's nothing funny, Winston. You keep laughing. You're making a fool of yourself.
That this country continues
Graham, I'll play this back for you. And you'll laugh at yourself.
If I may talk, gentlemen. If I may talk.
Play what you want to play.
If I may talk, let me get into this conversation. I really believe, and you guys can disagree, right? We're all here to have a conversation. That's a beautiful thing about the Gilchrist Experience, that those in power want us to look at red versus blue, rural versus urban, left versus right, instead of us looking that it's really the top versus the bottom. Though the oligarchs in power want us to look at those who are the minorities, if it's black, if it's brown, if it's LGBTQ, if it's disabled, instead of looking at the minority that matters, which is the 1% of the billionaires.
Mm-hmm.
Now, these billionaires who fund these politicians that win, who give us artificial choice, who have bought both sides. They bought the Democrats and they bought the Republicans. These PACs that have come together, APAC and et cetera, who continue to chasten and control and puppetize the people we elect. We need to set our eyes and our arguments and our anger and our energy towards them, because they have created a place of not where a regular American can live an American dream, but they've created an American nightmare for most of us, so that they can rob the bank, as we argue. And, whatever America is, if it's a republic, if it's a democracy, it's a failed experiment. This is supposed to be a place, from what is written, is supposed to be for we, the people. And we know they continue to change the definition of what that actually means. I would say the Republican Party, who is supposed to be the conservative party, is actually not fighting to conserve anything at this point.
You got Trump in there.
They're supposed to be the ones who conserve the Constitution, and they're throwing it away. And so I think even the Democratic Party, who's supposed to be a party for the people, is a party that continues to show that it's about, as you say, capitalism. And so we are at the crossroads. And the question is, what does the civil rights community do in this time? We can talk about the 60s because you guys were there. Some of us on this call were even there in the 1619s. But I will say this. You can tell me about Frederick Douglass, and you can tell me about Harriet Tubman. You can tell me about Dr. King. You can tell me about Malcolm X. But what are we going to do today?
We got Reverend Sharpton, and that's what we're doing today.
So
and
I want to say this, and let me be
I'm going to show you what Trump is doing today.
About this, and I am very much, as we say, proud of the work that Nan and Reverend Sharpton continue to do. But we need everybody.
That's right.
To come together. And it is not just one movement that's going to or create liberation. And under our watch, they have regressed the rights that were won in the 60s.
Taking them all away.
And we are not holding them accountable nor ourselves accountable for the fact that we have lost that fight.
Yeah.
And so it is frustrating to live in this situation. As a young person, I get excited, Mr. Graham. As a young person, I get excited. It's exciting times to live in.
Right.
Because we are going to see who you really are. You have said for years that you are a fighter, but let's see if you can really fight when things are most people I talk to have the syndrome of flight and not a fight.
That's it. That's it.
And so a lot of people talk good game, but when it comes to the fight, they were just words. I want to see people swing. I want to see people get to the other side so that we can all be free. People don't drown in water because of the tide. They drown in water because they don't have water knowledge. They drown in water because they stop kicking, because they stop swinging. How much fight does the civil rights community have in this MAGA age?
Well, let me show you what we're fighting against. And Graham will even come out on the next march. You watch. We're going to get Graham out there marching.
So I want to say this. There's many ways to fight.
Let me show this rolling, and we'll come back.
Direct action is one way to fight. We know voter registration is one way to fight.
That's it.
Fighting on the streets and then fighting in the courtrooms is another fight. But Graham brought up a great point that we just brushed over. We as a people have allowed for our media companies to diminish. The voices and the plethora of radio that we had in the 60s, the papers that were generated at that time, we don't have control of the media. The only thing we can do is get on YouTube that we don't own, get on Instagram that we don't own, get on Facebook and all of these things that the billionaires already own, who control the algorithms to which your message could possibly get out there or not.
We had shows that YouTube took down because they didn't like the content. That was YouTube.
And that's YouTube. And Grant and Winston, you talk about that all the time. You said it to me, what Graham is saying right now.
Of course I do.
Up and they take it down.
Graham and I agree with more than we disagree.
No, I'm saying that only because, and it's not about you agreeing with Graham or not. I'm talking about the fact that we have fallen asleep.
The principle of Democrats and democracy. That's what we argue about. Democrats always...
I'm moving on. Let's not get off of what I'm saying here. I'm talking about the media. That we've allowed mass media corporations and legislators to get us out of the market to get our story out and our message out. That's what I'm talking about.
And Sharpton's one of the few out there doing that, or trying to do it as best he can.
So
Because of the money
it's true.
and the control.
But I want to say
Zionism, white supremacy has always controlled this country. There's no doubt about it. Graham's right about this. Greed and selfishness has always controlled the planet.
Let me.
Can I show a Roland first? I'm gonna show you what.
I just want to make a comment, because it is not that politics by a group of people is the only issue that we deal with. I mean, I was talking about one of my favorite comedians who continues to target the LGBTQIA community and talks about how they perpetuate racism. But I will say this, there are racists in every community and all kinds of issues. We have to even deal with people in our own community that continue to
That's the biggest fight.
Give out. We have these people who continue to sell us out.
That's right.
For 30 coins of silver. And usually the people that, if you read the Bible, who get you are the people that are with you.
Right.
So we got to really look at who's amongst us who continue to sell us out. And I don't want to point left and right, because we can always do that. But I want to say this. If we have our stuff together in a way that we can push by all of these people, we already know they're not for us, because they've already. And I don't want to target one group of people. I want to say, let us look at ourselves and figure out within ourselves what we can do. The civil rights movement helped other people who were marginalized get rights, but we still stay black. The Italians were brown; they became white. The Jewish community was marginalized; then they became white. The Arab community was not white. So the bracket of white moved, and so you've seen the weakening of the unions. The unions are not as strong and don't fight like they did when Dr. King was here. The media companies are not like they were. So we got to really get together and strategize on how we're going to get through this age. I don't want to target any group, because everybody seems to step off our backs.
Well, the most important battle that I experienced was the battle between Martin and Malcolm in the early 60s.
We can continue to talk about Malcolm and Martin, but
that's
they're
70
gone.
years ago, man.
They're gone. Well, what are we going to do?
Well, let me show you the battle today.
Tell me what we're going to do right now.
All right, let me run this roll in, and we'll get back to that.
So the MAGA party's going through Chicago, grabbing kids out of their homes.
That's what I want to talk about.
Out of their bed right now.
Watch this video, and then we'll come back to exactly that. Run the second video, please.
A federal judge in Chicago has refused the Illinois Attorney General's request to immediately block the Trump administration from deploying hundreds of National Guard troops to the state, instead saying she'll hear arguments on Thursday. This is in contrast to Portland, Oregon, where a federal judge appointed by President Trump did issue a restraining order to stop Trump from sending troops. Illinois Governor Pritzker said Monday he would not back down.
Since the beginning of this invasion, families have been snatched up off the streets or removed from their homes, zip-tied and detained for hours, including especially U.S. citizens and legal residents of our state. And in the words of CBP Chief Patrol Agent Greg Bavino, they're being chosen by how they look.
Also on Monday, Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson announced he'd signed an executive order to stop federal immigration agents from using certain city-owned spaces.
The order establishes ICE-free zones. That means that city property and unwilling private businesses will no longer serve as staging grounds for these raids.
This comes after an overnight ICE raid on a Chicago apartment complex days ago, when ICE agents wearing fatigues and carrying guns rappelled from a Black Hawk helicopter and zip-tied children and U.S. citizens while carrying out arrests. A neighbor described the terrifying ordeal to ABC7 Chicago.
They was terrified. The kids was crying. People was screaming. They looked very distraught. I was out there crying when I seen the little girl come around the corner. Because they was bringing the kids out too. Had them zip tied to each other. That's all I kept asking. Where's the morality? Where's the human? One of them literally laughed. He was standing right here. He said, them kids.
Meanwhile, Friday, federal agents handcuffed Chicago alderperson Jessie Fuentes and briefly detained her when she asked if they had a signed warrant for a man they were trying to detain at a hospital.
He has constitutional rights. Do you have a sign?
No, you need to leave.
For me?
Turn around. Turn around and leave.
He is under.
I'm going to arrest you if you do not leave.
You are going to be placed under arrest.
Do you have a signed judicial warrant for him?
For those who can't see, the agent then pulled her hands behind her back and handcuffed her. The video was shared in a report by the news outlet Book Club Chicago, which is part of a coalition of Chicago journalists and activists who filed a new lawsuit with the ACLU of Illinois against the Trump administration over a pattern of, quote, extreme brutality, unquote, by federal agents during protests at the Broadview ICE Detention Center in a Chicago suburb. In this CBS News Chicago story, correspondent Azal Rezai describes how she was attacked while reporting at the ICE jail.
An ICE agent that was masked pointed his weapon and shot directly at my car. He saw my window was open and he shot right here. You can see the point of impact right there.
You can see white powder exploded on the hood of her car, windshield, and even engulfed the inside.
And I was sitting right there with my window open. A lot of it went inside of my car and on my face. I immediately felt it burning. I started throwing up.
For more, we're joined by Ed Yanka, Director of Communications and Public Policy for the ACLU of Illinois. Ed, thanks so much for being with us. There's so much to discuss here. I mean, one lawsuit after another. The most recently yesterday, the filing.
The reason why I show this is updating ourselves to what's happening today. Now, here's the real battle. It's not about democracy, it's about being human in this situation. And Mandani becoming mayor is important to us because of the fact that Cuomo is supplied or supported by Zionists, the money team, Trump and Netanyahu are the power between the Zionism. And what do we have? We have the Democratic Party and them fighting amongst each other. So we have to unite as humans. There's no party. Who's human around here? Who has more demonic force than them? Who is God-centered? So we have to reach out to the righteous people on this planet and unite. There's no party. There's one race, the human race, and all of us. They say that it's no longer human rights. It's no longer civil rights. It's human rights, and that's global. We have to fight for all humans. The demonic force is controlling and dominating the planet. Wherever you look, there's trauma and turmoil. Kill, kill, kill. Now, where's the humanity in all that? We see what's going on. Now, who's going to lead us out of all this? Reverend Sharpton and Mandani, as I can see. That's what I witnessed. So, with that, comments, gentlemen?
I just want to say, as we witness what's going on in Chicago, we will continue to keep the families in prayer, the children in prayer for the trauma that happened to them, and the city officials and the state officials, that God continue to give them strength and the courage and the wisdom on how to go about being invaded by your own government. You continue to bring up Reverend Sharpton, I don't know if you're aware that Donald Trump tweeted about Reverend Sharpton the other night, Mr. Gilchrist. And when he tweeted, what became a trend throughout a lot of the papers that published it. And basically, Donald Trump is calling for Reverend Sharpton to be removed from his show. And he went on to talk about how they were friends, for a while, and he would come to his events and et cetera, et cetera. But what is going on is that Donald Trump is trying to censor those that he feels that need to be censored systematically. We know that recently he tried to censor Jimmy Kimmel and others, and now he is targeting Reverend Sharpton.
He's trying to destroy America.
Let us continue to pray for our leader. And we know that just because he's our leader doesn't make him yours, but let's continue to pray for those who continue to do the work and who are targeted. I think that what is happening all around, right, with this big, beautiful bill, who then funded this military of ICE to basically take away or impede illegally on our First Amendment rights. If it's if it's to protest, if it's to speak, they're putting us back into a system of slavery. They are talking about the biggest gold rush that has happened, with the ability to build these prisons, and they want to fill these prisons up so that they continue to make money. And so the gold rush would be in blood, it would be in bodies.
The gold rush.
So the question is, what do we do with when ICE comes into our neighborhood? And we know
you might mention that it got a $170 billion budget. $170 billion they gave these guys. And they're employing nothing but gangsters. This is Hitler. These are the brown shirts out there. Everybody better wake up. It's not Democrat or Republican, it's human. Fight against the devil, man. These are demonic forces. And wake up, America.
4 years ago, I said on this show,
I know, I remember that.
You will see troops in your streets, and they will send troops into your neighborhood who are not from your neighborhood. They'll be from Mississippi and Alabama.
I remember that.
I warned that 4 years.
I remember. I'm going to play the show, Graham. I'm going
Now-
to bring that. I'm going to find that show, and we're going to show it.
And then
I remember.
people don't want to read. They didn't want to read 2025. They didn't think about it.
And
have
black
gone
people
through
didn't
most
vote.
of 2025, they have already enacted most of that plan. People need to go back, get that frickin' document, and research every person that contributed to the compilation of 2025. Look at the businesses that are involved. Understand that ICE is paying people for privatized prisons.
That's right.
Every penny you spend, you don't need to go down to Wall Street. You need to stop spending money, period. Take the time and find out who you have been financially supporting. Whether it's, what's that coffee company? Starbucks. Starbucks is owned by a Zionist Jew who has been financing the death of Palestinian people for almost 20 years. People running in there buying that rot gut coffee. Stop financing the death of your people. Sit down and do some research on these corporations and see where you have been aiding and abetting in the death of other people.
Everybody doesn't have that ability.
You need to, no, everybody has it because they have a phone. Don't tell me that. You got a phone, you can look up any
I'm telling you because it's real.
There's no excuse.
Everybody's not as smart as you, Graham.
Research. Stop interrupting me. I don't interrupt you, Winston. You consistently open your mouth when I'm talking. I'm tired of it.
Maybe I don't like what you're saying.
You don't give me the respect, you won't get any respect from me.
Well,
you're not going to interrupt me when I'm talking. You keep your comments until I finish. A conversation is two people talking. One is talking, one is listening. When the other one finishes talking, then you talk. You're not going to continue to interrupt me. If you want to disrespect me, you can talk to yourself.
That's not disrespecting you. My goodness. That's a... Bev, note this. Graham, you're gone? Oh. Ron, you gone too? Well, I guess is that the end of the show? Am I the only one left? Well, as you see on the Gilchrist Experience, we always have a lively events. But you know, this is serious thoughts. Graham and I have been dealing with these sort of things for many a year. But I'm adamant about the struggle of Democratic Party talking about each other, and we've done this for years. Graham and I have been doing shows for 26 years. I'll show you many a show we've fought like this, but this is Graham's most heated one. I mean, I gotta ask Bev if we've ever seen him that mad. Because I bring out the truth about the struggle.
I missed that little fight because I was talking with Lana, but you should be back on.
All right.
Yep, you're good to go.
All right. Well, we'll have to return with my two guests and see what happens. We're all excited about what's happening and how to deal with it. Heated arguments are good for us. We get our venom out and realize that we have to praise the God-given love energy that I try and spread. I argue, but love will conquer all. And the God in me loves the God in you, and I mean that sincerely. I love my brothers, and these heated discussions help everybody. So you can express yourself, and remember that love is the energy that rules, really, that should rule. And we're fighting the devil, demonic forces. And God bless you. And we shall return for the Gilchrist Experience. All right? God bless. Power to the people. All right? Peace and love.